If you have a large audience on YouTube but low revenue, then you're probably making this one big mistake. And after working with hundreds of YouTubers, including Ali Abdaal as his head of YouTube, I've learned a lot about what it takes to monetize your YouTube audience without becoming overly salesy and trying to become the next Alex Hormozi. So in this video, we're gonna explore why you don't have the revenue you're hoping for and what you can do about it. So let's say that you have 100,000 subscribers. Now there are two categories that your channel could fall into here. The first is that your channel is a marketing channel. And the second category is that your channel is a media channel. So with the marketing channel, let's explore some characteristics of this and some examples, and hopefully it'll become clear why I've called it a marketing channel. So a marketing channel has one target viewer. The channel also helps them achieve a specific transformation, and they monetize through their own offers. And a really important part of this is that they've clearly identified their dream student. And a dream student is someone that we want to help, values our help, and can pay for our help. Now, some good examples of channels that do this that you might have heard of are Aman Manazir, who helps software engineers get jobs, or Ed Lawrence, who helps entrepreneurs grow YouTube channels, or Thomas Frank Explains on his Notion channel, where he helps people learn more about Notion and become prolific Notion users. So these guys all have great YouTube channels where they make videos for a specific type of person to help them achieve a very clear transformation. And then they have an offer where you can pay to achieve that same transformation faster and easier with more chances of success by working with them directly. And the way that these channels make money is really simple. They make YouTube videos and then they either send you straight to their offer or they send you to their email list where they then send you to their offer afterwards. And so if you're watching this and this resonates with you, where you have a clear target viewer on your YouTube channel, your videos are all about helping them achieve a certain type of transformation, you want to help your viewers, they value your help, and they can pay for your help, then the thing that you probably need to work on in your business is your offers. So making the right kind of offer to your audience. Now it depends on the nature of your audience, what type of offer you want to make and how many products you actually want to have in your ecosystem. But this is the big bottleneck in your business. But the short answer here is that you can hit six figures with one amazing core offer, whether it is low ticket and $300 or high ticket and $1,000, $2,000 plus. You can hit six figures with one great core offer. So you don't need to complicate things by having loads and loads, unless you have a niche where you can only charge a very low price point, in which case you need to have lots of offers and lots of traffic. Because in that case, if people are spending less money with us, we need to have lots and lots of customers. But it might be that this isn't the kind of channel that you've been building, and what you've actually done is built something that I call a media channel. So let's have a look at that one. So the characteristics of a media channel are broad audience, no clear target viewer, and importantly, typically monetizes through AdSense, affiliates, and sponsors. So the reason I call this a media channel is because you're really operating like a media company where you are selling ads, you are selling attention and eyeballs. So you've done all this work where you've made this amazing piece of content, you posted it onto YouTube, and all these people have come to YouTube to watch your video. And the way that you then monetize that is by selling other people's products in your videos, by selling sponsors, affiliates, and AdSense. So you're making money by selling other people's stuff and selling attention, much like a traditional media company. So that's ultimately what you're doing here. And the currency that really, really matters to you is ultimately views. So views is how your business operates, and the more views you get, the more money you make. The less views you get, the less money you make. And that is the ultimate metric in your business. Now, the typical channels that fall into this bucket, obviously entertainment channels first of all, but then you have things like lifestyle channels or vlog channels, or typically personal development channels, where it's a lot about the person who's talking themselves. So if I was to talk on this channel about life lessons that I've learned, then there's not really a clear transformation for you off the back of those lessons. And I'm really targeting a broad audience without a clear target viewer. Some examples of channels that typically operate in this way are Mr. Beast, or Tam Core, or The Diary of a CEO, or Ali Abdaal to some extent. They all generally have lots of different topics on their videos. They typically explore sort of personal development. Obviously, Mr. Beast is in the entertainment category, so that's a bit different. But educational channels, they have broad audience, they explore different topics. They generally have this personal development theme or some kind of lifestyle element. and they typically monetize through AdSense, sponsors, and affiliates. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this strategy, but the typical thing that people find is that they're on the views hamster wheel and they have to continuously produce content. And unless you are Mr. Beast or Stephen Bartlett, you find that a little bit tiring after a while, and constantly relying on sponsors and AdSense and affiliates can be tiring. And ultimately, you come to the realization you want to have more of the elements of a marketing type of YouTube channel, where you use your channel as a marketing tool to drive people towards paid offers that can sustain your business more sustainably, rather than having to rely on views to generate sponsors and AdSense income. So what are your options if you find yourself as a bit of a media channel where you are reliant on views and you don't have any paid offers, and you typically monetize through AdSense, sponsors, and affiliates, and you want to embody more of the elements of a marketing channel where you use your channel as a way to drive people to some kind of paid offer and monetize through things that you actually own? What can you do? Well, there are 4 different things that you might want to think about right now. So the first is double down. So what that means is leaning into the views game and making this your business model, where you monetize through AdSense, affiliates, and sponsors, and you commit to that strategy long term. And what that means in reality is trying to make the best videos possible so that you can outcompete other people on the platform. And this typically is quite hard and involves a lot of effort in video production, because you need to make the best videos possible. And so you have to really love doing that. And you also have to be okay with the fact that you're reliant on views. But people typically realize that it's not something that they really want to do, and it feels a bit unsustainable. So they consider a different option. Now, the second strategy here is a hybrid. So what that means is identifying part of your audience on your channel that would be interested in a certain transformation that you can help them with, and who tick these 3 key boxes of the dream student. So you identify in your broad audience a dream student that you want to help, who values your help, and who can pay for your help. Now, an example of this is Ali Abdaal, YouTuber who I'm assuming most of you have heard of. And he has 6 million subscribers these days. But back in 2020, he was making money as a media channel. He monetized through AdSense, affiliates, and sponsors, and he didn't have any of his own products. So he built a 6-figure business that way, and it was totally legit. But then he identified part of his audience who ticked the dream student boxes, people he wanted to help, who valued his help, and who could pay. And that audience was YouTubers, people wanting to build YouTube channels. And at the time, this was a reasonably novel area to get into. It wasn't anywhere near as competitive as it is now. And Ali launched the Part-Time YouTuber Academy, which has gone on to be a very successful YouTube course. And thousands of students have gone through it. But in reality, this is only about 10% of Ali's audience. Most of his audience are people interested in productivity, making money online, improving their lives, finding more purpose, finding more meaning, becoming happier overall, all of these different things. Whereas YouTube is only one small part of that, and only about 10% of his audience actually interested in growing YouTube channels. Now, that's potentially grown over time as it's become more popular. But ultimately, what Ali did was he identified part of his audience who he could offer something to, and then made a paid offer to them. And then a key element of the hybrid model is that every now and then he would make a specific video to that audience, targeting them and driving them towards his paid offer. So every now and then on the channel, Ali would make a video called, "If I started a YouTube channel in 2025, I'd do this." And then that video would get views, and that would drive people towards the Part-Time YouTube Academy. But because helping YouTubers is such a big and valuable market, about 70% of Ali's revenue came from this YouTube course that he started teaching, and about 30% came from the sponsors, AdSense, and affiliates, and other various things. Now, it's a bit of a rough estimate, but it was in that favor where more of the money came from the offers that Ali owned, even though it was such a small part of his audience. The thing with Ali, though, is that his audience was so big that 10% of his audience was still a lot of people. And so there were a lot of people interested in getting his help with growing their YouTube channel. And it ultimately made millions of dollars over the coming years. So in your case, if you have one of these media channels where you don't have a really clear target viewer that you're helping, it's about finding someone, one dream student within your audience, maybe it's 5 to 10% of your audience, and seeing if you can offer them something. Because if you've got enough views on your channel, then 5 to 10% of your audience could still be a large percentage. And that's where you have to get really good at audience research and things like that, and figuring out who is actually in your audience watching your videos, and why do they actually like watching videos, what credibility do they think you have, and all of that kind of thing. Now, the third option here is to start a second channel. So once you have identified a dream student in your audience, or maybe not even someone in your audience, but a type of person that you can help, someone who ticks the dream student boxes, but potentially they're not even in your current audience, you then think, okay, I'm actually going to go and start another marketing channel. So you keep your media channel as a media channel, your main personal channel as a media channel, but then you go and start a second channel, which ticks these boxes over here. It has a very clear dream student. You target one clear viewer, you offer them some kind of transformation for free on your channel, and then you have a paid offer as well. And if we go back to the Ali Abdaal example, he identified this part of his audience who wanted to start and grow YouTube channels. Now, Ali could have started a new channel once he'd realized this, which was dedicated to helping people start and grow channels. And he would very much embody the marketing channel principles, not take on any sponsors or affiliates, and just focus on driving people towards the Part-Time YouTuber Academy. But Ali decided to go for a hybrid strategy, which these days I don't think is a good idea. An example of someone who's gone through this exact same process as Ali, but ended up starting a second channel is Gabe Bolt. So Gabe Bolt is a YouTuber with around 700,000 subscribers on his main channel. And on this channel, he talks about life lessons and personal development and personal finance and how to become a better person, all this very broad stuff that ticks all of the media channel boxes. So it very much monetizes through AdSense sponsors and affiliates, and that's typically how he makes money through that channel. But some of you might have noticed that Gabe Bolt has started a second channel called Gabe Bolt The Process. And you can see it has way fewer subscribers. And on this channel, he teaches people how to grow YouTube channels. So the common theme that you might see here is that if you have a media channel where you've grown a big YouTube channel, then typically you can make money teaching people how to do what you've done because your audience is interested in that. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's actually a very sensible approach to follow. And in business, generally a good principle to follow is take inspiration from what works and don't try to reinvent the wheel. So Gabe Bolt hasn't, and he's just teaching people how to grow a YouTube channel, and he has a course, and that channel, Gabe Bolt The Process, is dedicated to helping people start and grow channels, and he sells his course through that. Now, I don't know how much money exactly he's making through that channel, but I can tell you from the amount of effort that he's putting in that I can see that he's probably making 6 figures. Now, the final strategy, which is quite stressful, is to pivot. So what that means is you try and pivot your channel from a media channel into a marketing channel. So you identify a part of your audience that does tick these boxes of you want to help, values your help, and can pay. And then you only target those people moving forwards. So what that looks like in reality, once you've figured out your dream student, is that you start to make videos only for that person. And that means your views start to go down, but potentially your revenue goes up if you figure out the right paid offer for that person and you do a good job of marketing it to them through that channel. Pivoting can be a little bit risky because you've built this whole thing and potentially you've got 100,000 subscribers and then suddenly you're only getting a few thousand views and it looks a little bit sort of funny from the outside, and you alienate your current audience, which you might not want to do. And people think you've sold out because you just start only selling something to one specific type of person. And the whole thing just gets a little bit messy and stressful. But fundamentally, these 4 things, pivoting your channel, starting a second channel, going for the hybrid model where you occasionally make a video which promotes a paid offer that you have, or doubling down on the views-based strategy and the media channel strategy, those are typically your main options if you find yourself in the media channel territory. But knowing how many views you actually need to make both of these types of channels work is actually very helpful and interesting. And I explain exactly that in this video here. So I will see you in that one.